Would benefit most of all professors. I think it would be extremely good for almost anybody with fixed ideas and with a great certainty about what's what to take this thing.
LSD is the most dangerous drug that we have in the world today.
Acid is good for you, kids. Go.
If you can reach a firm verdict about the right to use this fascinating, beneficent, but dangerous drug for purely personal experience, I envy you.
It was lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD.
At the end of the synthesis, I got in a very strange psychic situation. A kind of dream world appeared. And a feeling of oneness with the world. A very strange experience which reminded me to some experience I had in childhood. Sometimes when I was in nature or in the woods, I had some kind of, I would say, mystical experience. The feeling of oneness, to be one with nature, the feeling to see now the true aspects of nature, the beauty, and which filled me this happiness.
Could it be that this pleasant, dreamlike state was in some way connected with the crystals of LSD that Albert Hoffman was purifying that afternoon? He'd certainly not eaten of it, but his fingers might possibly have brushed against a few traces of the compound. If so, then LSD was a remarkably potent drug. He decided to experiment on himself.
Very, very strong.
Feeling increasingly unwell, Hoffman was obliged to return home. It was wartime. He went by bicycle. As the journey progressed, the external world began to look stranger and stranger. By the time he reached home, normal reality had disintegrated.
When I entered this room, I was really astonished how this room had changed. The room itself and the objects in this room had quite a different form, different color, different meaning. The object, like the chair, was like he was a living object, moving from inside. So unusual that I really got afraid that I had become insane.
A kind next-door neighbor brought milk as an antidote. She too was malevolently transformed. At times, Hoffman felt that he was dead and had arrived in hell. But, at last, 6 hours after taking the drug, he felt himself returning to the normal world. 2 days later, now fully recovered, Hoffman reported his discovery to the head of the laboratory. 1 teaspoon of his new drug, LSD, could render 50,000 people temporarily insane.
I myself and also, of course, the medical department here realized immediately that was a very important agent which was used in psychiatry and in research.
Sanders distributed LSD to psychiatric hospitals as an experimental drug called Emotif. really knew what medical use LSD might have, but this extraordinary substance deserved further study. Research soon showed that LSD closely resembles powerful natural chemicals in the brain, used to exchange messages between nerve cells. The drug acts like a false signal, disrupting the normal flow of information. One specific event is to disable the region of the brain that filters information arriving from the senses. A flood of signals reaches consciousness and is experienced as an overwhelming deluge of sensations. The impact on the mind is profound. It's as if reality was suddenly uncensored, revealing a world exquisitely or horrifically transformed. But hallucinations and pretty colors are only part of the story. LSD also affects the subconscious mind. In the early 1950s, psychiatrists began to investigate this aspect of the drug. All over the world, scientific papers appeared reporting the use of LSD in the treatment of psychiatric patients. The leading centre was Warwick Hospital in England. Here, in a purpose-built facility known as the LSD block, hundreds of mentally ill people were treated with LSD. The consultant psychiatrist who pioneered this work was Ronald Sanderson. For a decade, he ran the Warwick unit. Thus it came about one bright May morning. I swallowed 4/10 of a gram of mescaline, dissolved in half a glass of water, and sat down to wait for the results. After a while, I became aware of a strange object going for light. I was looking intently at a small vase of flowers. My eyes traveled through the rose to the carnation, and a smooth rose of scented amethyst, which was the eyes. I was seeing what Adam had seen in the morning of moment by moment of naked existence. Passionate despair on my choice at my own precious legs. Those stories and flowers, what a labyrinth of endlessly significant complexity. This is how one ought to see it, how things really are. Now someone produced a phonograph and put a recording on the turntable. The voices for a kind of Blim, that little human. The uneven phrases of the madrigals pursued their course, never sticking to the same key for 2 bars together. And suddenly, I had an inkling of what it must be like to be mad. I found myself on the brink of panic, disintegrating under pressure of a reality greater than a mind accustomed to the cozy world of symbols could possibly bear.